Hi and welcome to SciQ. If you're like me and you were watching the Republican debate last night, you were probably shocked at the complete disregard for science, facts, and evidence in the candidates' arguments. As part of the TYT network, SciQ were providing a live fact check, but I was fact checking as fast as I could, and I still couldn't keep up with all of the complete falsities that were coming out of many of the candidates' mouths. So here at SciQ, we wanted to do just a quick wrap up of the least intelligent things that was said during the debate. Number one is probably this attack on intelligence itself. So many candidates seem to have a go at people who are in intelligent jobs as if they were somehow like not a good part of society. So philosophers were attacked, journalists were attacked, and they also seem to have this like obsession with like less pages. I know Carly Fiorina was talking about how her tax plan would only be 3 or 4 pages. So many people talked about how the law is complicated and we should just get rid of everything and just simplify, simplify, simplify. I think that the overall message from Republicans seems to be that everything's too hard and we need simple solutions. This was ironic because just yesterday we'd released a video about how unintelligent people with a lower IQ, were more likely to vote Republican because they find it difficult to understand complex ideas and complex ideologies and are more likely to be attracted to simple solutions and to simplify problems. So I was annoyed but not surprised at this attack on intelligence and attack on anything that's more complicated than a couple of pages. Number 2 was how the candidates dealt with climate change. Now, unsurprisingly, climate change was left right to the very end of the debate, but they did have a few questions about climate change. I know Jeb Bush answered at least one of them. What was really disappointing was the talk of, they said we need all of the above energy, which means coal is okay, oil is okay. They were huge fans of that stuff. Now, that doesn't surprise me, but it is really disappointing because statistics and evidence shows that the economic future of America and indeed the world depends on how we deal with climate change. And so encouraging the ongoing emissions of oil and coal was economically irresponsible. And this was an economic debate. So I was surprised that they didn't kind of delve into that at all and seemed to be completely on the wrong side. They also talked about abolishing the Clean Air Act. Now, if you're not familiar with the Clean Air Act, that's okay. The Clean Air Act has been in place since the 70s. Its role is to help protect air quality. And since air is something that we all breathe, it's probably a little bit important that the air is breathable. The Clean Air Act does simple things like allow the EPA to monitor air pollution standards. And there's also regulations in place to stop some of the oldest and most polluting coal power plants from releasing all the coal dust into the air. So repealing the Clean Air Act not only would undo over 40 years of good environmental policy, but really has no purpose. It's not like the Clean Air Act is costing us billions. It would be absolutely catastrophic if anyone decided to appeal the Clean Air Act. You would have old-style coal power plants being allowed to be built. We've moved past that. We have new technology. Why on earth would we be encouraging pollution? So Jeb Bush, to me, seems to be a candidate that is a little bit in touch with reality, but I was really disappointed to hear him advocating for this ridiculous policy. And number 3 was a tiny moment that you may have missed. Marco Rubio said we can't increase the minimum wage because that would make people more expensive than machines. And I was really glad that someone mentioned that machines and robots are going to become an imminent part of our economy and actually threaten a lot of human jobs. But I was really disappointed to hear him say that increasing human wages would make us more expensive than machines, because machines and robots are already around 100 times cheaper to operate than a person. So not only was that factually incorrect, but it's also the absolute wrong way that we should be looking at this incoming technology. Companies like Uber employ a lot of people. In fact, transportation employs over 2 million Americans. It's the largest sector of our economy. And Uber itself has admitted that by 2025, it hopes most of its drivers will be out of business, that will be completely reverting to robot cars. Now, this change is going to require a huge response from the government. It means that millions of Americans are going to be unemployable in the next 10 years. These are people that can work and want to work but can't get jobs because all the jobs in their industry have been taken by machines. So we're going to have a huge economic crisis on our hands, and the only person to talk about it in any way was Rubio, who said that we should keep the minimum wage as it was, even though that's not a solution at all. So I was happy that Rubio seems to be across the idea that machines are coming into our society. It was really disappointing that people seem to think that lowering the minimum wage or abolishing it or not increasing it is going to be an effective solution to this. So there are my 3 least intelligent moments of the debate from a scientific point of view. I'd love to know what moments were your favorites. Let us know in the comments below. There were so many unintelligent moments. Those were my favorite, but I'm sure you have a lot yourself. Hope you enjoyed the debate and looking forward to the next one. Hi everyone, I'm Jade Lovell, resident science nerd on the Young Turks Network. You're watching SciQ and we know you don't want to miss an episode, so please click the subscribe button down below. Cut.